Hello everybody, welcome to the Empressive channel. The comedian, actress, and co-host from The Real, Loni Love, revealed that she auditioned for a role on the sitcom Girlfriends. However, she did not make the cut because she allegedly was too big for the role. Now, Loni actually talked about her audition for Girlfriends in her new book, I Tried to Change So You Don't Have to. I actually bought this book out of curiosity because I saw it being promoted and I was just kind of interested to see what Loni Love's story was about. And Loni opened up about growing up in the Brewster Douglas projects in Detroit, and she went from living in poverty to actually going to college and becoming an engineer. And from there, she entered into the comedy world, which actually opened up doors for her to enter into the Hollywood world. Loni had dreams of being a successful comedian and landing her own TV show like Roseanne Barr. However, it wouldn't be an easy road for her. For years, she struggled to make it as a comedian. As she was balancing out her work, she would be doing comedy shows on the weekends at different clubs, and sometimes her jokes would go over well and other times it wouldn't. Also, Loni had to deal with people trying to push her in a certain box as a comedian. Because she was a black woman, oftentimes in the industry, people would want her to be the sassy, loud, stereotypical girl from the hood, and Loni didn't feel like she was being authentic when she would get into that character. Not only that, weight was also a big issue for Loni in Hollywood, and she didn't realize how her weight would affect her in getting certain roles. Now, it didn't occur to Loni that there was a problem with her weight until a kid in a grocery store told her that she was fat. And she soon found out that some people in the industry would have the same feelings about her image. Loni told a story about how she tried to audition for the role of Girlfriends, but she was turned down, and she felt like it was because she didn't fit the right image for the show. In other words, she was too overweight. This is what she said in her book, I Tried to Change So You Don't Have to. I'd gone to an audition for a TV show that was in development at the now defunct UPN network. The open casting, which was posted in Backstage LA, called for someone to play a 20-something professional black woman as part of an ensemble cast in a network sitcom about single life in LA. As a 20-something professional black woman living single in LA, I was perfect for the role. The only thing that would have made me a better fit for the part is if they included my shoe size. When I arrived at the audition, I found the waiting room filled with black women of all shapes and sizes, just like real life. But when the pilot hit the air a few months later on September 11, 2000, the cast didn't reflect the diverse group of women I'd seen at the casting at all. Instead, Girlfriends looked more like some TV exec's fantasy. Each woman was the size of a toothpick. How are you going to have a show about black women's sister friends and every single woman is a size 2? Don't get me wrong, I know Girlfriends, which featured the brilliant Tracee Ellis Ross in her first primetime starring role, is one of the best and funniest sitcoms of the early 2000s. At least that's what I've been told. I was so disappointed I hadn't been cast that I would run to change the channel every time the show came on. For 8 years, while Girlfriends was on the air, anytime Tracee Ellis Ross flashed across my screen, I'd hit the living room floor doing shoulder rolls like a Navy SEAL diving for the remote. At first, I was convinced I didn't get the cast in Girlfriends because I wasn't talented enough. But sitting on my sofa after the incident at the grocery store, a thought struck me for the very first time. Maybe that little brat in the cookie aisle understood more about the industry than I did. Maybe I didn't get the part because I didn't look the part. Maybe I didn't have a chance at TV because I was too fat. If I were a white man, my weight wouldn't matter. Kevin James, Chris Farley, Norm from Cheers, Roseanne's husband Lou Costello, Santa Claus, I could think of plenty successful full-figured white guys. Even porn star Ron Jeremy, who was fat as and worked in the nude, had an easier time getting ahead in show business than I did. That's what I call FWMP. fat white male privilege. In comparison, I could think of only one full-figured black woman with a starring role in a sitcom at the time, Monique, who played Nikki Parker on The Parkers. Only one sister with curves had a full-time TV gig. That's it. Those were not good odds at all. Girlfriends wasn't the only audition that didn't go my way. I tried out for soap opera commercials, shampoo ads, and I auditioned for roles as wives, girlfriends, and blind dates. But I didn't get any of those jobs either. The only gig I managed to land was in a commercial for a fast food chain. No one wanted to hire me as a woman. They only wanted to see me eat. I couldn't believe I hadn't realized this before. I was a curvy, cocoa-skinned black woman. If I was going to be successful in Hollywood, I was going to have to change. So like a lot of people in Hollywood, Loni Love felt the pressure to change her image, and she felt like if she lost weight, she would get more roles. And she had a reason for why she felt the way she felt, because back then there weren't a lot of roles available for black women like that. The roles were there, but the opportunity to land those roles were very scarce. And Black Hollywood was very small, so certain roles would go to certain people. And if a person had connections, it would be easier for them to land those roles. Now, Loni did not come into Hollywood with any connections, so she had to work twice as hard to get her name out there. And she also didn't fit the image that some people wanted. So that was another obstacle that she had to overcome. And I do think her image did play a part in why she did not get that role on Girlfriends. Now, this is not to say that the women on Girlfriends were solely chosen because they were slim women. Let's be real. Girlfriends was perfectly casted. I mean, I can't imagine anybody else playing Joan Clayton other than Tracy Ellis Ross. Also, the actress Jill Marie Jones was perfect for the role of Toni Childs. And Golden Brooks played Maya perfectly, and Persia White played Lynn perfectly. So all of the actresses on the show definitely embodied their roles, but they did have an advantage because they looked the part. And I found it interesting when Loni kind of pointed out that there was more of an emphasis for women in Hollywood to look a certain way than men, particularly white men. She mentioned several white celebrities who were overweight and they were still able to be stars. However, she said that the only plus-size black woman that she ever seen star in her own TV show around that time was Monique. And Monique was not portrayed as a professional black woman living in LA like the ladies on Girlfriends, but she was portrayed as a desperate woman chasing after a man who didn't want her. And it was funny, but at the same time, it kind of makes you think at how Hollywood perceived certain types of black women. The plus-size black women were oftentimes looked at as clowns. They were looked at as the butt of the joke, and the ones who weren't treated as clowns were boxed in into some other stereotype. So that was something that Loni struggled with. She struggled with acceptance, and she tried to change herself. And in her desperation to lose weight, she tried several different diets that failed, and she even tried to exercise and do a spin class, but she ended up going to the hospital because she overworked herself. Loni said that she spent so much time stressing over her looks that she wasted opportunities to do stand-up and work on her craft. And that's when she decided to stop stressing over her image and actually stay true to herself. And once she was able to do that, she was able to move forward in her career and break down barriers for herself and other women who look like her. I thought the story that Loni told about not landing a role on Girlfriends was pretty interesting, and also her book is very interesting as well. It's called I Tried to Change So You Don't Have to. I think it's very inspirational, it's funny, it's honest, and it's also an easy read. So if you haven't read the book, or if you're interested in reading the book, I would say check it out. It's very interesting, and you'll learn some things about Loni that she's never talked about on The Real. So I thought it was an interesting read. Anyway, tell me what you all think about this video down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you care. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.